Nier Automata on the PS4. Well, previously on Nier Automata, well, I'm calmed down now. Because I was rather upset earlier this morning when I was playing this game, and I found out why I wasn't making progress. I'm calmed down a little bit more. Let's see. When I started the game, basically when the open world started, I had to go down here. Resistance camp. There were some missions I had to complete, including a mission where I had to farm materials here in this section of the game. After dying and seeing all the enemies respawn, I was finally able to get all the items that I needed. It's apparently a known issue in this game that enemies will randomly spawn certain items, and if they don't spawn all the items you need, you might have to restart the game. Not restart the game, but you might have to turn off the game and reload your game save so that all the enemies will respawn, so that you'll get another opportunity to farm those items and harvest those items for later. We'll get to that another time. So I completed that quest. Now the game told me to go out here to the desert so that I can, unlock this area, basically. And now the game's telling me to destroy these enemies. I want to say, yeah, eliminate these machines in the desert. So all these red spots you see right here, gotta see if I can take them all out. If I can zoom out a bit. So I'll take out all those enemies, and then when I'm done, I'll go down here to this red dot, hopefully. Maybe I can reach that red dot, I'm not sure. So first things first, and by the way, this is my destination. So we'll get there in a moment. And I've already unfogged this area marker, so that's good. So now I can save my game anywhere in this area. So first things first, let's take out some of these enemies and circle back. I think I'll start... Well, let's just go north and we'll circle back around. Let's just do whatever. Wait a minute. I remember what direction I'm pointed. Yeah, so I'm going south now, so that door is pointed south, so we are going north. Okay, so let's make this quick. So I'll go counterclockwise. Yeah, big wide open expanse of nothing. You got Journey in my Nier. Hold on just a second. Sit down, son. I'm mad. That way he's not dead. Yes, he is. Okay, am I going the right way, actually? Yeah, let me make sure I'm going the right direction. In fact, let me make sure I got my bearings here. Okay, I see what's going on. I gotta zoom out a bit. To defeat those enemies. So let me keep on both of my marks right here. So I always know where east is. Okay. So let's stick to that. That's actually somewhat confusing. Just a second. Yeah, they're both there. Weird. Okay, so the mini-map should be recentering that diamond. Yeah, so that's east. That's north, where the next batch of enemies is. Out my way, doofus. Oh, there's loot here. Hold on a second. Let me get that loot. Loot! I can't open it. Just a second. Weird, I couldn't open that. Come on. You done? Yeah, I think we're done. Now I can open it. Was even what? Got a moving speed up. That's a consumable, isn't it? Second. These enemies are pretty well spread out, just for the record. Let me check on something. I guess I might as well bring this up now. I remember when I played Lightning Returns, I realized right away that a lot of the level design is actually kind of whack. But I was willing to put up with it because the game seemed reasonably challenging. And that it actually required me to employ some unique strategies that I had not yet seen in an RPG before. At least in it's a real-time action game. It's duel based, but there were strategic elements to the combat that I liked, mainly like all the all the basically all of the clothing you were wearing represented like it was like switching weapons, it was like switching strategies, switching movesets. So this a lot of the way that game worked was about finding out what a good strategy was for the enemies you were fighting and building up your character's loadout so that you can employ it in a fight in a way that was useful. So in Lightning Returns, a lot of the strategy was built around, okay, I need a flexible play style so that I can always survive any fight with an enemy, because you're only fighting one enemy at a time. But any fight could end in death, because the enemies there tended to be kind of challenging at times. So a lot of the game's combat was based on figuring out if you could come up with a flexible strategy that worked against any enemies you would come across. Because you had to be able to use all of your suits in a fight. You couldn't just pick a favorite suit and a favorite weapon and just spam it, at least not early in the game anyway. Because the game was forcing you to switch, because there was basically a cooldown mechanic built into the game. Whereas in a game like this, it just feels like it's real time. It's like it's a platinum game. It's real time, you know, melee brawling combat and all that. But my complaint about it so far is that it's kind of all the combat's kind of samey. Like everything, like the combat right now isn't significantly different from the combat that I was doing 5 hours ago when I started the game. The button mashiness of it never really changed, and that's been kind of unfortunate, frankly. So how many more of these machines do I have to take out? 3 more mobs, huh? And unfortunately, there's a lot of this. In fact, I mean, even like I was listening to Alex Navarro talk about this game on the Giant Bomb podcast. Game of the Year 2017. It was his Game of the Year, I believe. And basically, he had to serve as the advocate for this game, mainly as a storytelling vehicle, I want to say. But the argument behind that game, you know, the argument... Wow, look at all those enemies over there. The argument in the game's favor was that basically it's a very ambitious story with, you know, decent combat. Like, the combat in this game isn't great. The level design is actually kind of terrible at times. In a lot of ways, yeah, it's a PS2 game that's kind of outgrown its ambition in a way. I gotta... Let me recenter this. L1? Outstanding. Okay, I need to get the level 10 enemy out of my face. There's a tiny bit of strategy here as you try to figure out, you know, which enemies are the strongest. You try to find ways to, like in most melee brawlers, try to find ways to isolate the strongest enemies, take care of them first, then take out and whittle down the mobs so that they become a more manageable size. But again, I'm always talking about Blades of Time because I always loved the game I always loved the way that game handled crowd control, mainly through the dash targeting system that game had, so that you can isolate one enemy and pile up damage on one particular enemy to kind of whittle down the large crowds you had to deal with. So the combat flowed differently than it does in a lot of games that Platinum makes, because it wasn't just about, you know, doing AoE attacks on, you know, small groups of enemies and waiting for them to attack so that you can counter them, I guess. I mean, I don't remember really having to counter enemies in Bayonetta. It just felt like, mash, so the enemy mobs are weak enough so that they can be destroyed, basically. If there was strategy, obviously, but those other Platinum games were mostly about QTEs. There are no QTEs here. Bayonetta got you into the flow of the combat, and then eventually you would get a finishing move that basically wound up being a QTE. And that was part of the score chase, apparently. I'll have to talk more about that later, because Bayonetta's score chase is supposedly one of the things it picked up from Devil May Cry, but I was never really a fan of the score chase in brawlers, to be honest with you. For me, playing optimally in a game like Final Fight or Batman Returns or a Maximum Carnage, playing optimally meant, okay, surviving any mob by taking minimal damage. Which for me was a big deal, because that was how I challenged myself. In a game like Bayonetta, you challenge yourself by basically, I guess, getting higher scores. Because I think the main issue with a lot of those games is that, yeah, they're mashy because the combat's based on finding a reliable set of moves and then just executing them all the time against every enemy. Well, most enemies, not all of them. So in that case, the value of the combat is based on how much variety there is in terms of the different strategies you have to employ. And I guess the flow of the combat never really bothered me in a game like Blades of Time, because I always sort of felt like I was getting something new in terms of the enemy mobs that showed up. It always felt like I wasn't constantly spamming the same attacks all the time. I'm sure I was on some occasions, just never felt that bad. Can I save my game now? Let me give myself another healing item. Down, circle for the small heal and recover. I'm glad I bought a bunch of those. I'm taking dumb hits. Let me clear something out. Need to save. Do a quick save here. All right, so I finished off half of this. Well, it's not a corpse run. We're just making corpses. But yeah, that's what I've been complaining about. There's a lot of this. There's a lot of... There's a shockwave +1. Is that a... I think it's a consumable. There's a lot of running around waiting for the next mob to show up. Not great. What kind of items are these? Sound data. Oh, where did I get this? Listen to nice BGM on the jukebox. Part 1 of a set of 5. So eventually, I guess you end up getting the entire soundtrack, huh? Got a lot of crystals here, but these are definitely for crafting and such. Did I get anything else that might be useful here? Nope. All chips. I want all chips. That's the equipped chips. Yeah, I'm curious what ending I get when I do that. We'll work on that later, maybe. Here we go, shockwave. Adds a slightly weak shockwave to special attacks, huh? So I have room for this. Increase maximum HP. Evade range up. Increase the distance by 10%. What purpose would that serve? Probably end up selling these, yeah. Now 20% sounds interesting. I'll probably end up selling that one. So I guess you can combine them, so they stack, I guess. But I've used up too much storage. I only have 9. See the right-hand side of the screen there at the top where it says storage used, 31 out of 40? Displays an icon. Well, I guess I can use this one. That one's already activated, right? Yeah, so these aren't activated. Increase movement speed by 2. Taunts race player at enemy attack. Okay. I guess if we wanna take that risk. Taunt. Anyway. So a lot of this is already turned on. Weapons. No more weapons, nope. I still don't know where I found that dumb Phoenix dagger earlier. I think it was in the desert when I was playing earlier and I wasn't saving my game properly. But whatever. Okay, we're going south. Yeah, that's right. I have to get to that red dot. Just a second. So that's my save. Yeah, so let's go. Let's circle around because then we're gonna go down there to where that red dot is down there. So we'll make it work. But remember, I had to keep both waypoints. I had to keep the diamond near my destination because it's too hard for me to keep track of those waypoints on this map right here. In fact, yeah, even Brad Shoemaker was saying, yeah, the map in this game is terrible. It's not as bad as, like, you know, Jet Grind Radio or Jet Set Radio, but it's pretty bad. Because that was the game we couldn't even determine, like, basically the map in that game was so flat, you couldn't even determine height. So in that game, you would look for targets, and you didn't know what floor they were on. And you were on a time limit, too, so that wasn't great either. So I put my diamond here, so I always know that that's where my destination is. Because there are too many of these red, see these other red triangles that look exactly the same? So how am I supposed to tell them apart? Well, I put my custom marker right here next to the destination, so I always know which way my destination is. And that distinguishes that diamond over there that I'm facing from the two that I'm running to right here. So it's just another waypoint. You know, cartography. As a cartography simulator, this game is actually kind of lame. Apparently development on this game started in the PS2 era, but you know what? So did Skyrim. I just didn't know any better. What up, bro? Oh, well, never mind. See, I was trying to be peaceful. Look out, look out. L1. We got one of them. There we go. So I got 1,000 G's. I'll let your boy. Okay. Yeah, I was really upset this morning. Just thinking back on it, I'm like, wow. Just finished what I had dying so that I can complete that quest and finding out that the enemies respawn. I mean, I've had moments where I've said, you know what, I'm like, that's what I wasted all my time doing. Like that moment that I just had is like, why the crap did they put that mechanic in the game? The idea of farming enemies for items is great. The idea that enemies will disappear and will not respawn unless you die or reload your game save is terrible. Knowing that makes me feel a little bit better, but I kind of wish the game would have communicated that a lot better, because I literally could not make progress in this game until I did that. And that is kind of infuriating. In fact, you can't even make progress unless you complete some function the game doesn't explain to you. Suck it. Wasn't paying attention to anything these people are saying. Darn it, missed. There's level 12 over there. I want to take him out first. Yeah, I think he's out. Thanks, Nines. See, I'm just sitting here, you know, whittling them down. He does all the work. I'm not complaining about that. Okay, let's recenter everything. Let's see. Where's my map? Over here. I might not be able to get there, actually. Yeah, so that's my diamond. So that's the red dot I want to get to. So let's see if I can actually get there. Hey, can I save my game here, actually? Let me at least get close enough to see if I can save my game before I travel out too far, just in case. Wait, am I that far away, really? Yeah, no, I can save here. I can save here. I have enough bars so I can save my game. Okay. Yeah, so let's see how long I have to wander in the desert before I get to the next fight. Again, why is this place so big if it's just a desert? Is there supposed to be a boss fight here, and if I do one of the alternate story paths or something? At some point I'm gonna have to reckon with the reality that I might actually want to play Final Fantasy Lightning Returns more than this, because people are willing to put up with this game in ways they weren't willing to put up with Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns. Not that I blame them. I mean, the story's kind of stupid. Apparently, the story behind this game's a lot more ambitious, so I guess it's worth it in that sense. Sit down, son. Punch me. That's all of them. Yep, wait, forgot to save. Okay, so I needed that. Now what's here? That's the other question. Doesn't look like much. Right. Well, what do you think I'm going to find here? Whoops, sorry, too far away. Let's aim. Yeah, it's fish over there by the pipe. Whoops, wrong direction. Aim. Lock. Fire. I don't FAM 2040 for you. Well, I haven't found a fish yet. I think he said they didn't find any fish. No, we're wasting our time. Is that an item I can grab out there? Can I? This wire doesn't hurt, does it? Guess it's okay. Found a torn book. Are there any fish to find at this point in the game, I wonder? Yeah. See how long it takes for them to find anything. Probably nothing. Where's that stupid ringing? Here's some bell ringing. We bobbed. I saw him bob, but that might not mean anything. It might be a completely worthless piece of feedback. So yeah, fishing. Maybe later in this game, maybe later in the game, this mechanic will mean something. I don't know. There's a save spot here, so I guess it's important later in the game. I mean, right? Or they waste all this time putting that one save spot in that tiny little area just for a lake. Give me that. Yeah, old bullet hack. Well, I think I'm ready to bail. That save area was very tiny, I guess. Just a second. Yeah, it's not a very large save area. So the one at the oil field. Maybe I didn't want to fish inside the oil field. So if I'm in this area, I'm fine. I might as well creep over by that save spot over there. Let's creep up a little bit, then we'll get to our destination. I still really wish there was fast travel in this game. I mean, the people who were complaining about the traveling time were not lying. It is really terrible in this game. Whoop, now we can save. Over here by the pipe. How far can we go away from this save area before we can, okay, we gotta go back a little bit. Now we can save. A lot of black dots on that map. Okay, let's save. So we can end the video once I get to my destination. So yeah, that was another boring. This is another boring contribution to this video, but I just kind of wanted to distinguish the flow of the game at this point. Because again, I don't like the combat enough to fight these enemies, and that's a bummer because it feels kind of weird to say here's a platinum game that's getting boring. But here we are. So yeah, if you're not willing to stick with the combat, you know, whatever, dude. Yeah, a lot of this game feels like work, and that's unfortunate. Make the existential point if you'd like, but I can play Sims and feel that same feeling and still not be drowned by the minutia in a game like The Sims. Yet here I am playing this, and I'm getting bored slashing things. Who'd have thunk it? You. Ready to die? Guess so. Got him. Wait, now, he's not running. Is he telling me to run? Yep, he did run. Good. Hopefully there's another save spot over there. Don't kill me! I'm like, fine, the game's forcing me to kill you. I mean, it's an open world game where the game's leading me by the nose. Okay. So I can get back up here, I hope. I got mail. Well, we need to get to that access point. Where's the nearest one? Haha, near. See what I did there? Let's see. How far out is it? Over there. So we got a couple of these. Thanks for making progress. So I'm curious. Let me take a path I can probably use to get back up here. Let's find out if I can get back up here. That's what I'm curious about. This part kind of feels like Fallout New Vegas. Well, the music's kicked in. Hold on, see, we're doing the journey thing now, and I can't pick up my loot. It's probably just another recovery item, though. Just a second. Yeah, remember that part of Journey everyone liked? Well, we're doing it too. Right? Sand surfing? I mean, they do that in Zelda too, actually, so I think Journey impressed a lot of video game developers in the back in the day. 2017, the year everyone caught up to Journey, I suppose. Total Biscuit's Game of the Year, I believe. A game that forced the conversation where if you hated Dear Esther, why did you like Journey so much? Well, probably the music and the tone and the pacing, I suppose. That counts for something, obviously. My save spot is here. There it is. What up, boy? Yeah, he didn't like it very... I'm sure he didn't want it that much anyway. And I will take that. Rusted clumps. Well, it's safe. So we'll come back later, but yeah. I guess I shouldn't have expected this to be more eventful than it was. To be really honest.